I drop the walkie-talkie to the ground and cry hysterically, "Travis, we have to find her." I can barely hear him through the rain that is still pelting me in the face, but I manage to read his lips. He promises, "Don't worry, we will." Then suddenly a thought crosses my mind. Maybe Alex couldn't make it to my house because of how strong the storm was. Maybe she went to Daniel's instead. He lives right next door to her. I stand up and shove the walkie-talkie into my pocket. Then I pull mine out of my other pocket and double-check to make sure it's still turned on, just in case Alex did make it over to Daniel's and she's trying to contact me from there. I try my best to remain calm. The blood covering the walkie-talkie has washed away now, but just the thought that Alex is hurt makes my stomach twist in knots. I race across the soaking wet grass to the front yard and go sliding onto the sidewalk. Travis hurries after me shouting, "Where are you going?" I get back up and don't bother to tell him what I'm thinking. I doubt he could hear me over the rain anyway. The wind starts to pick back up as I make my way next door. I storm up his walkway and pound on the door. "What are we doing here?" Travis asks when he finally catches up with me on the porch. I'm thinking, since Daniel lives closer to Alex than we do, maybe there's a chance she came over here to shelter from the storm. Maybe she couldn't make it all the way to our house, I tell him. He nods his head in agreement, which gives me hope that I'm right. I pound again a minute later when no one answers the door. "Why don't you just ring the doorbell?" Travis asks smugly. So I do, but another minute goes by before anyone comes to answer it. "Who in the world could that be?" Mrs. Anderson shouts as she opens the door and stares at Travis and I in a look of shock. "What are you boys doing out here in this storm? Do your parents know where you are?" "Yes, ma'am, they do. We just came from Alex's. She wasn't home, so I thought I'd stop by to check on Daniel and see if she was here. Can I come in and talk to him? Just for a minute." "He's fine. And no, she's not here. Now you boys should really get home," she says as she begins to close the door in our faces. Just then, Mr. Anderson steps out from behind her large frame. "Honey, the wind's really starting to pick up out there. Just let them in for a little while. I'm sure Daniel would love to see them." She gives him an angry glare. You know he's still punished. I think in this case we can make an exception. She stands her ground for another moment, but then steps aside and holds the door ajar. "Fine, but only for a little while." We take off our wet, muddy shoes and leave them at the door. Then Mr. Anderson leads us upstairs to Daniel's room. He knocks on his door, and when Daniel doesn't answer, he says, "Ever since Dominic disappeared from the hospital, he hasn't been himself." I nod my head, letting him know that I understand why. He opens the door. "Danny, Adam and Travis are here." After we step inside, he closes it behind us. Daniel is lying in his bed, holding his knees to his chest, curled up into a ball. I almost don't recognize him. His skin is the color of a freshly fallen snowflake. It looks like he hasn't seen the sun in a very long time. His hair, which is usually neatly styled and held in place with gel, is shaggy and flaked with dandruff. He has dark, puffy bags under his bloodshot eyes, probably either from lack of sleep or constantly crying. A feeling of relief washes over me. I'm glad to finally see him. I was starting to worry. "Hey man, where have you been? I've been calling and trying to reach you on the walkie-talkie for days." He stares right past me as if he's talking to someone else and replies, "My mom won't let me talk to anyone. She blames me for what happened to Dominic. She thinks that I know more and that I'm just not telling them. But I told them everything that I know. The black shadow, it took him. It took him away into the darkness." Suddenly he begins to cry. I move closer and reach out to place a hand on his shoulder and tell him that everything is going to be okay. But he pulls away like he's expecting me to hurt him and huddles back into a ball on the corner of the bed. "Are you all right, man?" Travis asks. Yeah, I'm fine." I reach into my pocket, retrieve Alex's walkie-talkie, and hand it to Daniel. "What's this?" he asks, now shaking uncontrollably. "It was Alex's. I think the black shadow got her too, but no one knows yet besides the two of us and now you. This is all I found when I went to her house to check on her." "When did you go over there?" he asks me. "Right before we came here. Me and Travis went." "Why? Have you seen her?" He shakes his head. "No. I just saw... I saw... Never mind." Daniel finally takes the walkie-talkie from me and drops it on the bed. No, tell me. What did you see? He shakes his head. It was nothing. Never mind. Don't you want to find Dominic and the others? Come on, just tell me, I beg as I grab him by the shoulders and shake him. Whoa, take it easy. Everybody just needs to calm down, Travis says. I regain my composure and sit back down. I'm sorry. Please, Daniel, just tell us what you saw. Any little thing could help. He glances in my direction for only a second, but as soon as our eyes meet, he looks back down at the ground. Oh, I really shouldn't. I can't say. I bet he didn't see anything. Did you, Daniel? Travis asks. It looks like he's about to say something, but then he just replies, No, I didn't see anything. I can tell that he's obviously lying because he turns away from us. So you do know something, Travis questions as he gets up from his chair. He stands looming above Daniel on the bed, and with one hand he grabs him by his pajama shirt collar. The other hand is balled into a fist and raised into the air, ready to attack. Look, you little twerp, I'm gonna pound you if you don't tell us what you saw, he screams. Daniel cowers and begins to cry. Okay. I saw her. I saw her walking down the street. Who, Alex? Well, where did she go? I ask as relief floods through me. That's all we managed to get out of him before his mother busts into the room, furious, and tells us that we need to leave. Make sure to charge the walkie-talkie, I yell over my shoulder as Travis pulls me out the door. Just go. You've already upset my son enough, Mrs. Anderson shouts after us. Mr. Anderson clobbers down the stairs behind us. Do you boys want me to walk you home? No, we'll be all right, I assure him. Well, you boys make sure you go straight home, he instructs. I tell him that we will. But if Daniel saw Alex walking down the street, I figure maybe she stopped at Destiny's since hers is the next closest house, so I decide to go there instead. The rain is starting to slow down now, but the wind is still whipping around just as violently as ever. Yes, can I help you? A girl around Travis's age asks. I assume it's Destiny's older sister that I'd heard about. This is the first time I've ever seen her, and she looks a lot like Destiny. She's very pretty. I can tell Travis thinks so too. He's standing next to me on the porch, in a trance, just gawking at the girl. You'd think he's never seen her before. Hi, Travis says. She smiles, and I swear I see a trail of drool sliding out of the corner of his mouth. I can't believe this. He gets so easily distracted. He's forgotten the reason that we're here in the first place. I nudge him in the arm and clear my throat. Is your sister home? I question. She steps aside and opens the door a little wider to reveal Destiny standing there in her raincoat soaking wet. I immediately step inside and ask, Is Alex here? Her voice cracks as she answers. No. Why would she be here? Her sister looks from each one of us to the other, wondering what we're talking about. You haven't told her what's been going on? I ask Destiny. She shakes her head and tells me, she won't believe me, so what's the point? I know the feeling because that's the same way I feel about my parents. I desperately want to tell them. More than anything else, I want them to know what happened to Brian, but it's just so unbelievable to anyone that hasn't witnessed it themselves. And I'm afraid that if any of the grown-ups find out about the Black Shadow, it might stop coming around, and then I'll never find out what happened to my friends or be able to save them. Hi, I'm Allison, Destiny's sister tells us, smiling. Nice to meet you. I'm Travis, and this is my brother Adam, Travis replies. His comment surprises me, because I could have sworn that Destiny told me before that she caught her sister sneaking out of the house to meet up with him. Why would they act like they don't know each other? What were you doing outside in the storm? Travis suddenly blurts out. Destiny's cheeks turn bright red and she stutters. I was just grabbing something from the shed for my mom. Where is your mom? Travis pries. Instead of answering, she quickly changes the subject and invites me up to her room so that we can talk in private. As soon as she closes the door behind us, I explain what happened to Alex. Adam, you know what this means, right? It must have gotten her too. That means one of us will be next, she cries in a panic. I don't want to admit it, but that thought has crossed my mind too. No, I won't let that happen. And we're going to get her back. We're going to get them all back. Ben, Dominic, and Brian too, I say. You sound so sure. I almost believe you, she whispers. We sit there for a moment, her on the bed and me on our aqua blue saucer chair. This is the first time I've ever been in another girl's room besides Alex. It feels kind of strange. My eyes scan the room, examining every inch of it. Destiny's room is completely different from Alex's. They both keep theirs clean and organized, but Destiny's is very girly. Inside of the alcove in her room, she has a small, neatly made canopy bed. Her bedding perfectly matches the aqua blue saucer chair that I'm sitting in, and she has about 10 pillows precisely placed, the smaller ones in front of the larger ones at the head of the bed. A sparkly diary or journal is sticking out from beneath one of the pillows. Pages from a teenage magazine pepper all 4 walls of her room, and all types of bottles in different colors, sizes, and shapes line the top of her dresser. Some are perfume, others are hair products, nail polish, and makeup. I've never noticed that she wore any before. I look at her to see if she's wearing any now. That's when I observe her staring at me, grinning. The devious grin distorts her face for a moment. Her eyes seem different, kind of cat-like with a glint to them, and her mouth is hanging wide open. She's really creeping me out. "You wear makeup?" I ask. That snaps her out of it. She shakes her head. I just like to steal it from my sister to piss her off. That makes me smile. I take Travis's stuff all of the time too. I guess that's just what little brothers and sisters do. "So what are we going to do?" she asks me. I have absolutely no idea, I answer, shrugging my shoulders. "What do you think we should do?" She replies, "I'm not sure either, but I do know that whatever we decide to do, we can't do it alone. Just the 2 of us won't be enough. We need Daniel's help. We have to talk to him." I nod my head in agreement. "And we have Travis too," I remind her. I tell her that she should really consider telling her sister. We need all of the help that we can get. "I already told you, she won't believe me," she answers. "Well, maybe Travis could talk to her," I suggest. He didn't believe me at first either. She gets up from the bed, walks over to the window, and pulls her white frilly lace curtains aside. "Look, I think the storm is finally over." I walk over and stand next to her, then peer out the window. The rain has finally stopped. When she opens the window, I can see that the sky has a yellow tint to it, and far off in the distance, I see the faint outline of a rainbow. Some of the neighbors are starting to come out of their houses to assess the damage the storm has caused. It's so quiet, no one says a word. I guess this is what they call the calm after the storm. I turn to Destiny, then step back surprised and ask, "What are you doing?" when I catch her sniffing me. I'm instantly mortified because that's when I realize that I forgot to put on deodorant today. "Nothing. I thought I smelled something," she tells me, grinning deviously. I walk toward the door. "Where's your bathroom?" "Down the hall on the left," she answers. I make my way down the hall, and I can hear Travis and Allison talking downstairs. After finding the bathroom, I go inside and lock the door behind me. As I'm removing my soaking wet hoodie so that I can wash my underarms, my walkie-talkie screeches, scaring me half to death. "Adam! Adam, are you there?" It's Daniel. "Yeah, I'm here." "Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I know. I saw her. It was Destiny. She was walking down the street past my house. It looked like she was coming from the direction of Alex's." "Are you sure it was her?" I ask him. "Yeah, I'm sure. I thought she didn't see me at first because she walked right past, but then she turned around and came back. She stared right up at my window, and she looked different. She was grinning, and her eyes, they didn't look right. Then she put her finger up to her lips, motioning for me to stay quiet. I think she meant that she didn't want me to tell anyone that I saw her out there. She stood there doing that for a minute, and then she winked at me and kept walking to her house. I don't know for sure that she did something to Alex, but I have a feeling. I wish you would have told us this before. I'm at her house right now." "What? You've got to get out of there." Now I know that Destiny has something to do with the Black Shadow, I think to myself as I scramble to put my hoodie back on. While thinking that, I'm so focused talking to Daniel on the walkie-talkie that when I look back up, everything around me has changed. It's still a bathroom, but everything in it looks old and abandoned. The wallpaper is peeling from the walls, a corner of the sink is broken off, and the enamel inside of it is chipped. The faucet is dripping and causing rust to form around the drain. I unlock the door and place my hand on the knob, and I'm just about to turn it when the door crumbles in my palm. I rush out of there and look for Destiny's bedroom. When I find the place where it used to be, everything is gone from there too. There is only a bed sitting lonely in the middle of the floor. The room is void of anything else. I step inside and look around. "Destiny!" I call out. She appears behind me in the hallway, looking demented. "Did you hurt Alex?" I scream at her. She doesn't respond. She only grins, revealing sharp, pointy daggers for teeth. "I knew it. I knew something was up with you. You took them all, didn't you? Did you kill them?" She lets out the most evil laugh I've ever heard. It can't even compare to any scary movie monster or creature. My eyes fall upon the pair of earrings that Destiny is wearing. Either she has the same exact pair as Alex, or those are Alex's. They look exactly like the pair that her grandma brought her back from Greece last summer. I remember her showing them to me, and then later that year her grandma passed away. They were the last thing she gave to her, so she said that she would always cherish them. I can't picture her loaning them out to anyone, but maybe her and Destiny were closer than I thought. She takes a step toward me. Yeah, that's definitely them. They're gold hoop earrings with turquoise gemstones embedded in them. "I know you took those from Alex," I accuse. She grazes one of them and licks her lips. I look back and forth for a way out of there. Then I hear Travis let out a blood-curdling scream from somewhere downstairs. That's when Destiny disappears. I race toward the steps, and that's when I see it. The same room where I found Brian's Thomas the Train hat. I'm in the abandoned house. But this can't be. It doesn't make any sense. When I take a step towards the room, the floorboards start to creak, so I step back out into the hall. I hear Travis scream again, so I dash down the stairs, swatting the cobwebs out of my hair and face. "Travis, where are you?" I can't make sense of where I am. What was the living room when we first got here is now crowded with antique furniture. Half of it is covered with sheets, and the other half of it is covered with cobwebs and dust. I see an outline of something sitting beneath one of the sheets. I can't imagine Travis trying to play a prank on me at a time like this, but I grip the bottom of it tightly and get ready to pull it off to reveal what is hiding underneath. I begin to count down in my head. 1, 2, 3. I rip it off and Destiny springs up and leaps at me. I get away just before she's able to grab a hold of me. I run towards the kitchen as her hideous laughter floods my ears and echoes all around me. An enormous gust of wind surrounds me. It's so strong that it takes my breath away. I can see Travis in the distance. He's huddled in a corner and he looks scared to death. When I finally reach him, I shout so that he can hear me over the sound of the wind. Destiny has something to do with all of this, but he still doesn't seem to be able to hear me. I reach out my hand and help him up. Then we dart around the corner into another bathroom and slam the door. The rain has started back up again. I can hear it hitting the roof and it's dripping from the ceiling onto my head. What in the hell happened? The whole goddamn house just disappeared. I was talking to Allison and then she went to get me a glass of water. She was just about to hand it to me when she just vanished, and the glass fell to the floor and shattered, Travis tells me shocked. Yeah, I was in the bathroom and the same thing happened up there. I tell him what Daniel told me about Destiny. Then I tell him what I saw. When it realized that I knew what was going on, what Destiny is, I think that's what broke the illusion that this was her house. Everything about her is a lie. Her family, this house, everything. I knew it. I knew something was up with her. So now what? He asks me. I don't know. Maybe we should focus on trying to get out of here first. Suddenly the wind stops and I crack the door open and peek out. There's no sign of Destiny anywhere, so I tell Travis that this is our chance. We creep out of the bathroom and back through the kitchen, heading for the living room. I can see the door. We're almost there. I think the storm has returned. Thunder is booming almost every minute. It's so dark in here that the only time I can see anything is when the lightning flashes. The windows are cracked, ready to shatter when the next gust of wind hits them. Rainwater is seeping through the window frames. This whole house reeks of mildew, and the walls and ceilings are covered with brown water stains. Fragments of plaster lie all over the floor like their only purpose is to soak up the rain. I scream like a little girl when a dust bunny the size of a bowling ball tumbles across the floor toward me. I thought it was a spider. Cobwebs brush my face with every step that I take. I'm almost there. Just as I'm touching the knob, I realize that Travis isn't with me. I turn around and see him standing in the archway of the living room staring into the kitchen. Travis, come on, what are you doing? He doesn't respond or move. It's like he's frozen right there. I walk over and look into the kitchen to see what it is that has him so hypnotized. I figure maybe Allison has reappeared. But as the lightning flashes again, I see Destiny standing there, with that same evil grin. She starts to giggle as she slowly backs up into the dark corner, and I can barely make out the outline of her body until another bolt of lightning flashes. That's when I see the shimmer, the slight shimmer of the earrings. Then they fall to the floor at the exact same time, and I watch as one of them rolls over and lands at my feet. When I look back up at her, my heart sinks as I realize the truth. I had a feeling that we couldn't trust her. And then today I started to suspect that she had something to do with what's been going on. But now this is just crazy. It's unbelievable, unreal. It is you, I whisper. She is the Black Shadow. Subscribe for new original stories 3 times a week. See you next time on
Nina's Nightmares.
Really? You're supposed to click the like button, not me. Ugh.